For once, I'm doing a video that isn't about Happy Tree Friends history, as recently I hit 10,000 subscribers, which I never thought I would ever reach. I wanted to do something unique and have some community interaction, so I opened the floor for a Q&A. I didn't have time to get to every question, but I picked most of the ones that I wanted to answer and the ones that were very common. Let's start with by far the most common question. Seriously, I got this question at least a dozen times. What got you into Happy Tree Friends? I got into Happy Tree Friends in early 2022, when I was recommended a Flippy episode on YouTube. It might have been the fan-made Flippy marathon or some other upload, but because Flippy was the only character I knew anything about, I clicked it out of boredom, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I actually wanted to admit at the time. I had always assumed that the show was just some edgy schlock that would be horribly dated, but I was actually surprised how engaging it was. Because the popular opinion that I had heard was that the show was bad, I adopted the mindset of, okay, this show is dumb, but Flippy episodes are good. The rest isn't worth watching. And then I watched See You Later Elevator and realized that no, the show is just actually really funny, even without Flippy. From there, I looked into the show's history, watched all the episodes, and slowly amassed a small DVD collection over the next couple months. One day, I started work on 2 different YouTube videos about the show, being a history of the Lost bonus pack, and a deep dive into my own custom iceberg chart. I started the bonus pack video, worked really hard on it, and then I lost interest, never finished the videos, and didn't really think about the show at all for several years. And this leads me into another question I received several times, being, what got you into making videos about Happy Tree Friends? So one day I was just bored and looking through my hard drive for no real reason, and I found the project file for the bonus pack video. Even though I had never really thought about Happy Tree Friends for a while, I decided to open it up and maybe try to finish it. I actually did some research, didn't make a script because I guess I was just too good for that at the time, and I was able to finish it in about 3 days. I posted it just for the sake of doing it, went to bed, and then I woke up to see it growing more than any video I had ever made before. Quickly, I was gaining subscribers, when for months I was stuck at 630 subscribers, waiting months to gain single subscribers and then losing them weeks later. Seeing this, I immediately decided, okay fine, I'll make the iceberg. That video was immensely successful, and well, here we are. I figured that if nobody else is gonna document this series' deep history, I might as well do it. It's kind of an endless loop. I make a video, people tell me that my intense knowledge of the show is a good thing, I get paid for doing it, and then I can use that money to fund buying more stupid garbage I don't need, and that said stupid garbage makes me want to make another video about the show, and you can guess what happens next. 2 other questions I got many times were, what's your favorite Happy Tree Friends episode, and what's your favorite Happy Tree Friends character? It seems a lot of people didn't see my character ranking stream where I talked about this, but even then, I'm really bad at choosing favorites, and my opinions change constantly. However, I think my favorite character is pretty set in stone, and I don't see it changing. My favorite character is most definitely Disco Bear. He's just inherently funny, and any episode he's in is made much better by his presence. As for runner-ups, I like Mime, Giggles, Flippy, Lumpy, and to be honest, I go through phases of random characters being my favorite, so I can't really be mad at any of them. I like them all in their own ways. Looking back, I really don't hate the Ants or Mr. Pickles nearly as much as most people do. The Ants can and have been funny, and they don't appear often enough for me to really hate them. Mr. Pickles only got 2 episodes, and I think the crew realized how one-note he is, so he never really had the chance to outstay his welcome. Hopefully it stays that way, and they find something interesting to do with Lammy, as she has plenty of potential for character development that she never really got. As for my favorite episode, that is also something I change my mind on frequently. But off the top of my head, my favorites are Ipso Fatso, Easy Comb, Easy Go, Every Little Bit Hurts, Easy for You to Slay, Stealing the Spotlight, Ski Patrol, and many others. I just really like the show. As for least favorites, I have to go with In a Jam, I've Got You Under My Skin, Pet Peeve, and In Over Your Hedge. Maybe someday I'll do a full episode ranking, but that would be a lot of work, so don't expect that anytime soon. Was there any Happy Tree Friends death that genuinely disturbed you? At this point, nothing in Happy Tree Friends really bothers me. The show is just too goofy to ever see it as anything but funny. Though, there are still a few moments in the show that I don't love. Ina Jam's blood donor scene is just painful to sit through, and it's not even funny. Though, as I said, I never really liked that episode anyways. I've Got You Under My Skin is an episode I've never liked, simply because it grosses me out so much. I can handle basically anything the show has to offer with the exception of bloody needles and mucus, and this episode is basically just those two things for 7 minutes straight. I'm not even showing it on screen because this is my video and I don't feel like looking for the footage. What's your favorite Happy Tree Friends DVD or collection item? Again, I'm very bad at picking favorites. Currently, as of early 2025, I have over 60 different Happy Tree Friends DVDs. That is, of course, counting regional variants. I really like the original online First Blood with its unique cover, especially the one I have that's signed by the creators of the show. The blood samples are very interesting releases, as for simple preview DVDs, they have a lot of effort put into them. Second Serving is very charming with its breakfast-themed menus. I really enjoy the Japanese exclusive Winter Present for the simple irony of this winter DVD only having one winter episode. And these very oddly named Dutch DVDs are too funny to ignore. I mean, seriously, Sixth Nonsense? What happened to the first 5 nonsenses? The same principle applies to my collection as a whole, where I have so much stuff I like that I can't really choose a clear favorite. I don't want to spoil too much of my collection for when I make a giant video about it, but some of my favorite things I own are the VHS tape, the USBs, and the Buddhist monkey Trixie figure. This was only up for general sale through Comic-Con, so it's unlikely that more than around 200 or so were made, much less so surviving in box for over 20 years. This is far from everything I own, but I'll save that discussion for its own video. What about Happy Tree Friends do you like? This is a question I like to think about, as I think people not understanding this is why the show has so many detractors. Happy Tree Friends is a charming, lovingly made tribute to classic slapstick cartoons, with an extra spice of it being more of a thriller. It's not just shock, it's a genuinely well-made show that knows how to pace and set up jokes. The animation is unique and very appealing, the music doesn't get nearly enough credit considering how great it is, and the voice acting is really good, especially when you consider that none of the actors were professionals. They were basically just random artists around the office. I do really want to make a full video about why the show works, as there really aren't many big videos about the show that stand up for it. Outside of Happy Tree Friends, what other things are you interested in? I find it funny that Happy Tree Friends basically became my online identity, as while I definitely love the show and I'm very passionate about it, cartoons have never been my primary interest. My main interest has always been video games, especially Nintendo games. Seriously, I have tons of Nintendo merch, saw the Mario movie many times in theaters, and went to Super Nintendo World in both Hollywood and Japan. And for years, this channel was a Nintendo channel. If you're curious, a lot of those videos are still up today. As for other interests, off the top of my head, Homestar Runner, On Cinema at the Cinema, Crash Team Racing, and Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. When I run out of Happy Tree Friends content to talk about, or I lose interest in the series, which won't be anytime soon, don't worry, expect gaming to be this channel's focus. Though talking about other stuff I like isn't off the table. How many HTF merch do you have in you? Thankfully, that Flippy figure that was lodged in my throat was removed, so my body is completely merch-free at the moment, thank you for asking. If you're wondering about my collection though, I have over 120 items, though again, I'll give that its own video someday, so stay tuned for that. Here's one that I would have never expected getting. I watched a playlist of your Plants vs. Zombies video from the past. Do you plan on finishing the video, like completing the game and uploading it here? First of all, I gotta give props for actually sitting through that series. That thing is definitely not my best work, and there's a reason I never finished it. I did actually record the full game, there's footage of it, and I even made thumbnails, but I just never bothered to edit the parts together. Maybe someday I'll compile the full series into one video, but I wouldn't count on it. I mean, seriously, how many of you would actually want to watch me pick at my loose tooth while playing Plants vs. Zombies? Because newsflash, the unreleased episodes are basically just, "Look guys, it's a zombie!" Have you ever made a mistake in a video that still haunts you? To tell you the truth, I have issues with literally all of my videos. When you make things, no matter what it is, it's very common for you to be your own biggest critic. My first 3 Happy Tree Friends videos? I don't like them much at all. I think I could've and should've done better research, and the fact I had no scripts makes my voiceover feel a lot less refined. It makes them feel more like a vague recounting of my notes as opposed to me reading it out as I actually found it. Not to mention that a few times, I just straight up say wrong information. Aside from the episodes being in 720p as opposed to 1080p, but it's not really a big deal. They are not 720p, they are 480i. I could have Googled this, and I didn't. The only real difference is the addition of nostrils. The other one has nostrils. I literally showed a picture of it. It's not too common, but it still bothers me. Luckily, I do think I've gotten better with videos over time as I've gotten more practice. So I do plan on eventually remaking the iceberg and plush videos with better editing, a cleaner script, more consistent audio, and way more content, as since I've made those videos, I've learned a lot. Seriously, the iceberg I have in the works is almost double the size of the original. What's the deal with your avatar? There's actually more of a story to this than you might think. A long time ago, I drew this character in MS Paint, and it became my online persona from then on. Over time, though, I realized that a character with no arms, legs, or neck didn't really lead to much in terms of expression. Also, I learned that there's a Paper Mario character that looks near identical, so I made the character into this more humanoid design. My friend Atanon saw this design and thought it looked like an Adventure Time character, so for my birthday, he drew the character in the Adventure Time style, and that has been my channel avatar ever since. I also asked him to draw the character in the Happy Tree Friends iceberg thumbnail, just because I could. Who knows, maybe you'll see more of the character in the future. And there you have it, a simple little Q&A video. If you have more questions that weren't answered here, feel free to leave them in the comments, as if there's demand, I'd be happy to do a part 2 later down the line. That, or I'll just reply to your comment. I like doing that. Either way, let me know what you think. And with all that said, see you next time.